became involved. Sergeants, captains, brass. And on the sidelines, you had the media, which learned of the female rape victim and that the suspects were all black or Hispanic.
That was the voice of our next guest, playing Bobby Burns, a lawyer who represented one of the exonerated five.
Right.
That they used to call the Central Park Five. But we changed that narrative.
That's right.
This man, DB, can you run? I know him personally, so it's hard for me. I'll run it down for an hour. But just some of the things he's accomplished in his career.
Well, that was him as divorce lawyer Bobby Burns, who realized that he was in for a little bit more than he had bargained for.
That's right.
But as an actor, I think he's proven that he's definitely up for the challenge. I mean, all the way back to Crush Groove. I think we went down that journey last time you were here. I complimented you on. I believe the last time you were here, I was talking about Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then that went into when Jimmy Smits came on after you, and you were talking about how you hung out with him. I believe he took you, him and his wife.
To Puerto Rico.
Right, to Puerto Rico. I was about to say DR, but I knew it was one of the islands. But, so Rules of Engagement with Sam Jackson. I mean, Set It Off. So many different movies and films and Broadway. I mean, the guy's an accomplished person all around. Author now.
He's rattling that off the top of his head. You're not even looking at notes.
No, that's
movie junkie.
Yeah, that's impressive. Don't forget Color of Jesus.
Okay, yep. We were saving that one.
Yeah, the one and only Blair Underwood is here.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me.
Blair, you're from L.A., man. I before we get started, man, I just want to. Did you know Kobe Bryant personally?
Oh, brother, no. I met him once.
Okay,
but I'm just a fan like everybody else, man.
Yeah.
That's still messed. I'm still messed up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know, I'm doing a Soldier's play on Broadway right now. David Allen Greer and Jerry O'Connell, and I got that text like right before the curtain went up, and I ran upstairs because David's dressing was right above mine. I said, "Dude, you hear about this?" And we were both messed up. He said, "Man, I'm hoping it's not true." You know, it's TMZ, and unfortunately, they're real accurate with their stuff.
No, that's what they do. Once it come out on TMZ,
I mean, before anybody else, I'm like, I don't know, man. I said, if they say it too often, they're right. But it was tough getting through that, and that had a little extra oomph to it, that performance. And then I found out after the show about his daughter, but it's just it's tough. You know, my first thought was, you know, it reminds you how fragile life is. You know, and, you know, we were talking about our kids and our daughters and this, that, and the third, and just how important it is just to let the ones you love, let them know on the daily, on the regular, daily. You know.
Yeah, I texted mine. I text her every morning. I love you. I'll try to say something positive to her, try to make her laugh every morning. Because if I don't text her, she's not going to text me.
Well, that's the thing. I'm sending stuff whether they respond or not.
Yeah. I'm waiting for hours. But the Soldier's play is really interesting because it deals with the attitudes, not only that, you know, white supremacist values have installed in our American psyche over the centuries, but how it's affected us in the black community as well, and how we view each other. So in that, you're talking about self-hate, you're talking about anger, you're talking about distrust, the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that and with this play, how it originated?
Yeah, man. Well, let me just say the NEC, the Negro Ensemble Company, produced this in 1981, ran for 2 years. It's an iconic run, an iconic play. It starred a young Denzel Washington, a young Sam Jackson, Jim Pickens, who's on Grey's Anatomy now, Brent Jennings, but an incredible cast at that time. It won the Pulitzer Prize, and it was so successful in the 2-year run. Oh, by the way, a young David Allen Greer was featured in that play also.
He was in the original?
It was in the original, last few months. It ran 2 years. He ran like the last few months. And was in the movie that happened in 1983 called A Soldier's Story, starring Denzel and Howard Rollins.
That's the one tear, right?
The one tear.
That Denzel killed the game with the one tear.
Yeah. Well, no. That's Glory.
Okay, that's Glory.
But Howard Rollins had the one tear at the end.
Okay,
that's right.
Somebody had a one tear.
DB would have got it.
He was right. It was Glory with Denzel. He was getting whipped.
Yeah,
and he just looked like straight face. You know.
Well, I saw that. Said that is his Academy Award when Denzel did that. But Howard Rollins has that one tear at the end of this. So in the play, just the basic story is David Allen Greer's character, Sergeant Waters, is a sergeant, all black platoon, 1944, Louisiana. He's murdered. Then I come in as the investigator, Captain Davenport, that Howard Rollins played in the movie, and investigate the murder. So what it does is you got 12 people on stage, 9 brothers, 3 white brothers, and these different perspectives of blackness, of culture, is what's crazy. And what's iconic is David Allen Greer's character, Sergeant Waters, because what he's dealing with is this self-hatred that you just mentioned. So it's not just about talking about interracial love and hate, but it's intra-racial, like how we think about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. And his whole thing, man, is he hates Southern. What's serious?
You can say whatever.
Yeah,
you want.
he hates Southern niggas. That's his thing, and he wants to eliminate them every chance. Can I say that?
Yeah, no, you can. But the way you said it, listen, the way you said it is like it ain't nothing new to your vocabulary.
Hey, I'm from the South, bro. You know how we do.
You must have hit a few niggas before you brush your teeth, man. I was like, anyway, go ahead.
You know how we
Paul
do.
Mooney used to say that. But anyway, go ahead. But so he hated the Southern.
Exactly. And all that whole respectability politics conversation about, if we act right, if we say the right things, if we dress the right way, if we do the right things, then they, quote unquote, will respect us. And, at the very beginning when he's killed, you hear him, the first lines of the play is, they'll still hate you. They still hate you. So anyway, that whole exploration of that character and how we feel within our community sometimes, self-love, self-hate, and where all that comes from. It's so multi-layered, man. It's so complex, and it's brilliant. It's why this play won the Pulitzer Prize.
When was it first written, though?
Well, it started in 1981, so probably wrote in 1980. Yes.
Have we seen much change in our community since then, in your opinion?
Well, let me tell you something. And I have to say this play is directed by Kenny Leon. This is his 15th Broadway play. But Tony Award winner, Kenny Leon, that's right. But his vision and the way he's laid this out, bruh, it resonates today as it did then. The last thing you see and hear before the curtain goes down is Nipsey Hussle.
Wow.
So he brings it up to the present, with this rap song, one of Nipsey's songs.
Wow. Blair Underwood is here. We're talking about A Soldier's Play. It's at the American Airlines Theater on West 42nd Street, something that I think we all probably end up seeing,
yes,
DB.
Please.
I was just curious because being that this play is probably hits close to home for you because you grew up in the military bases and things like that with your father being in the service. And then you also, you're involved in a Broadway theater in Los Angeles, I believe, with Danny Glover or something.
No, that's something different. Danny's got a theater company, Paul Robeson. Oh, no, the Roby Theater. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on board.
Do you know what you do?
I ain't been in the meetings in a couple of years, man.
Well, was I called out sick. I was busy.
I got a little sniffle.
The dog ate my homework.
I had to think about that for a second.
Southern niggas, boy.
So when it's something that's you're involved with, and it's also a personal project to you, do you sort of look at the material from a different perspective as opposed to something that's foreign, like you just have to research characters and find that sort of information?
Oh, no doubt, man. This is personal because my dad's a retired Army colonel. He retired as a full bird colonel. The next step is general for that. So he was a colonel in the 60s and 70s, so to have an African-American officer was rare in the 60s. Now, my character is an African-American captain in 1944, World War II. There were only 5 black officers in the Army in World War II. So it's a rarity. So, yeah, we grew up on military bases all over the world primarily. So to portray this character is this whole performance I dedicate to my dad and my mom. Because, when the soldiers serve, the family serves also.
Right.
So, yeah, it's personal. And all the black soldiers that fought during World War II and the Civil War and so many other battles that fought for this country. Our biggest challenge was what they call the double V. Victory, at that time, World War II, victory in Europe, but also victory for our dignity here in this country. And that's why a lot of them wanted to go fight to prove our worth, prove our value.
And patriotism.
Yeah, exactly.
And ownership.
And ownership of ourselves.
Of ourselves,
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Blair Underwood is here. I like saying his name.
Man, you do. Blair, when you came in, you and I were talking about hip-hop, and then you mentioned Nipsey Hussle. With your experience in television and film and in Broadway, for you, is Broadway, like, for us in hip-hop, the equivalent of a cipher? Like, to me, it's like this the liveness of Broadway, and it's like, if we catch you slipping, we see it all right there. Your sharpness, everything has to be right there. Would you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a high-wire act every night. And it's challenging. This play, hopefully y'all will come see this play. We only got 7 more weeks. And
we're coming.
Please come backstage afterwards because, it's an emotional...
I'll bring Kiyomi.
Yeah, bring Kiyomi.
Okay.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Am I coming with you special with Keon because
No,
I'm
just him
still
and
trying to feel like
you
how
gotta
I'm
come.
getting in.
Okay, come with us. Come with us.
Thank you,
All right,
Sway.
go
All
ahead.
right,
But you said it's emotional, Blair. You said,
no, it's an emotional roller coaster because I won't give the ending away, but it's painful. It's painful to watch. It's painful to do every night, and to do especially 2 show days to kind of just reset emotionally after you take this journey, let it go, and then you got to start it all over again.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel competitive though, like to have the different, like David Allen Greer? Do you feel competitive at all, or you just
With each other?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I really don't. I mean, it's just there's too much. This, it's funny. You look at the poster. It's got David Allen Greer and me up there. It's in our faces and our names. And I remember there are like 5 of these 12 cast members. It's their first Broadway show. And the first day, Kenny Leon said, "Who among us has their Broadway debut?" And 5 of them raised their hands. So I said to one of the brothers, Rob Demery, I said, "Man, how's it feel to star on Broadway?" He said, "Nah, man, you starring on Broadway." I said, "Nah, this is an ensemble piece. And when you see it, you'll see if one of us falls down from a live theater, it all falls apart." So no, these young lions are killing the game, every one of them.
That's dope.
I like that.
That's dope.
Blair, you have like the GOAT voice. Sincerely, like, have you always been obsessed with your voice as much as we have? Like, was it the same when you were like 12?
Love Trace.
Like, what is the development of this voice?
Nah, that's funny. No, thank you. No, I had a more high pitched voice. I was just doing an interview here at Sirius, and they played like an old clip from the '90s. I said, "Who's that 12-year-old boy talking?" I think all that yelling at the kids just made it more raspy over the years.
But I wonder, because a lot of times even folks who do voiceovers as a full-time gig like still hate the sound of their voice. Are you okay with listening to yourself on repeat?
I try not to, but I've made peace with it. I made peace with it.
Gotcha.
Blair, so Soldiers play at the American Airlines Theater. A couple of weeks left. If you're in the tri-state area, if you're coming to New York, you definitely want to see it.
Yeah.
Blair also was a part of a book, Olympic Pride, American Prejudice, the Untold Story of 18 African Americans who defied Jim Crow and Adolf Hitler to compete in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, which is Jesse Owens was in that one.
Jesse Owens, that's right.
Okay, so when I was growing up running track,
here we go.
my race as a youth was the 300-meter hurdles. And then I graduated, went to Mary College, ran under Coach Compton. I have to give out evidence for Heather to believe me. And being from Oakland, Archie Williams, the athlete who ran the 400 meters, was a big inspiration to us. And he's from Oakland, and he's one of the people that was featured in this book. What made you want to do this book, and what's the message? What's the story you want people to know?
Bruh, well, it's based on a documentary written, directed, and created by Deborah Riley Draper.
Okay.
And she did this phenomenal documentary. You can check it out on Amazon and whatnot. And I have an imprint called Blair Underwood Presents. And she asked me to narrate the documentary, and I came on as executive producer, and I was so taken by it because, as you said, we know about Jesse Owens, 1936. The 1936 Olympics was also called the Nazi Olympics. It was the Berlin Olympics in front of Hitler. And but there were 17 other African Americans that competed in those Olympics that were forgotten by history. So basically, this is their story. Yeah. It's Jesse's, but it's also their stories as well. So I just wanted to be a part of telling that story, just like the roles I take as an actor. I like showing sides of us we don't see or we don't see enough of. But yeah, it'll be in bookstores February 4th. We launch February 4th. Where books are sold, Amazon.com and everywhere else.
It was interesting because I growing up running track, Jesse Owens is one of the people I studied, and the way those athletes, the black athletes, were treated at those Olympics, they were treated less than human. Hitler wouldn't even acknowledge when a black athlete would win. He would walk out of the whole stadium. Like, literally, can you imagine that in the middle of the award ceremony? This guy is walking out.
Man.
Wow.
That's the combination. There's a theme here. There's a through line between Soldiers Play and Olympic Pride and American Prejudice because both of them had that double V. You said defy Hitler and defy Jim Crow. It's what the soldiers wanted to do. They wanted to go fight during World War II to defy Jim Crow laws and attitudes, but also show that they were worthy. Same thing with these athletes in 1936. There are a lot of folks, I think it was NAACP, that didn't want us to even go over. Don't even mess with Hitler. Don't even mess with them. And they're like, no. We know what we're doing. We're great athletes. We're going to go compete on the world stage and prove that we can compete against these people and everybody else, including Hitler's Aryan nation, and win. And they did. It's a phenomenal story that a lot of us don't even know about.
Make sure you pick that up too. And I think it's the sacrifice and the strides that athletes like these have made have empowered and enabled athletes of today, like the LeBron James and the Dwayne Wades and the Chris Pauls, to be able to speak out against, social injustice and
That's right.
and wear shirts and make statements and
Colin Kaepernick.
And Colin Kaepernick. Who's been a sacrificial lamb for a couple of years. We were doing a daily Colin Cap recap on this show when people stopped even talking about the court case up until the point where they reached an agreement. Now that I have you here, I remember I'm about to switch again, Blair.
Right.
Okay,
I'm with you.
Okay, you with me?
Hold on.
We brought up.
Buckle up.
Well, before we switch up, let's switch up now. We mentioned Color of Jesus because. Bro, I remember watching you on the Phil Donahue show.
Woo! That was a clip where I sounded 12 years old. That's what they just played in there.
They played that?
Yeah, that was a clip.
Play the clip.
Blair Underwood has produced it's misleading to call it a movie. It's a 30-minute film in which he plays Jesus. What color was he, Blair, in your own... You are a Christian?
Yes, I am.
You were raised a Christian?
Yes.
All right, so you sang all those hymns to Jesus, and I'm sure that Jesus, throughout your childhood, was white. Is that so?
That's correct, but we were always told that he was a man of color. Before we get into it, you have to understand what is black. What is blackness? Blackness is one of three things. It's either a perception, what you see. When you look at me, Phil, you see a man of a darker hue. It's either a state of mind, a consciousness. That's why I have friends of mine who are white, and you'll say, and they know more about African American heritage and culture than some black people. And you'll say, well, this white guy, he's black. He's a brother. Thirdly, when we talk about blackness, it's defined by your ancestral lineage, your genealogical line. If you go to the genealogical line of Jesus, there are people of color throughout his lineage completely.
See, I sound 12 years old, don't I? That's what I'm talking about.
But to say that at that time,
oh, my God.
What year was that? Do you remember? Was that
93?
93.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right after Rodney King.
Yeah,
okay.
Right after. That's what sparked the whole idea to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you receive any threats from folks after making this, Color of Jesus, and even going on Phil Donahue saying what you were saying?
Not any threats per se, but it was called The Second Coming. The title was The Second Coming. And I have to say, last year it was just inducted into the Smithsonian Museum and part of their archives, which was amazing for them to do that. But at the time, I think some jobs dried up. Yeah.
You stopped getting as many
because,
calls.
You look like that kind of rebel, that field Negro. Hey, listen, Howard Stern said on his radio station at the time, he said, look, now he's saying that Jesus is black. He said, wait a minute, look, we give him a career in Hollywood. We give him a career in Hollywood. And now he's trying to tell us Jesus is black. Yeah. Now, it may have been a joke. I heard it secondhand from a number of people at the time, but it's like, it was that attitude. It was like, okay, wait a minute. I was doing LA Law at the time. You on the hit show on TV. It said, just stay in your lane. Be a good little Negro. I said, no, if there's truth to be spoken, and if I have a chance to tell that truth, I'm going to speak it.
Yes. And Jesus was black.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Black man is God. Black woman
he had to be
is
a man
God.
of color, man. He couldn't have blonde hair and blue eyes living in the desert.
Nah, it couldn't have happened, man.
Middle East.
But that's what we were taught. We ended up taking the blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus off our wall. Because it just, even logistically, to your point, that region of the world, it didn't even make sense to us.
Right.
And then we just thought it was more doctrine being programmed into us to think less of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's how I was brought up.
Man, and we talked a lot on that Donahue show just about the power of images.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, we talk about, okay, really it's not even so much about what he looked like, it's about what Jesus stood for, what he taught. And then people would start saying in the audience, well, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah,
I said, now hold up, slow your roll. If it doesn't make a difference, why were the images changed in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
The power of the image. When we see ourselves, it makes a difference. When you have a man that looks like us that's living in the White House, there are people that are still reeling from that.
Yeah.
And still upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one might be in the Oval Office right now.
Okay.
Still can't get over it.
Mm-hmm.
So that affects how people see us, how we see ourselves, all of that,
Yeah. No, I love it, man. Blair Underwood, man. Don't worry, nobody. You got jobs now. You cool. You'll be all right, Blair. Don't worry. You come work with us.
Hey, man.
Tracy will get you some VO gigs.
Come on, Tracy.
And some tea.
I'll bring you in some ciphers.
All right.
Have her get you in the cipher. You know.
You want to do that for real?
I got you.
Okay. We got Johnny from North Carolina on the line. Good morning, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
What's going on, Sway and the family?
How you
Hey.
doing?
Underwood.
What's going on, Johnny?
Been a long time fan. I even saw a movie you did a long time ago. I think it was Straight Outta Compton 2. Low budget film.
Yeah.
That's taking it back.
Yeah,
But
man.
I had called about the soldier story stuff. I'm a 82nd Airborne vet. I work for the government still right now, so there's only so much I can say online. But one of the pivotal scenes in that first soldier story was the one where old Sarge, and they were talking about Moonshine, King of the Monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
And that scene right there, I've always thought about it because that showed that hatred from, one side of Black America to the next, and even how you talk about images and how we look at Jesus. That image of Jesus that we see is, Caesar Borgia, and I'm not going to get into all that, but just how we have been taught to just not see ourselves as, the true gods, the true kings. But
That's right.
The stories that you're telling and portraying in Hollywood, we got to start seeing ourselves as that. I'm a 44-year-old man. I just dropped my daughter off at school at Fayetteville State University, where I graduated from.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just got to put these images out there so our kids can know that they're important, that they have power, that they can be empowered, that they can motivate, that they can teach, and that they're not lesser human beings out here in this world.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Johnny, man, first of all, thank you for your service, man, and appreciate the comment. I call this period where we are right now the second wave of the golden age of Hollywood, 2.0, because there's so much content, primarily because of all the streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon.com. They got platforms. They need content. So, we got to fill it. That's why they have When They See Us. I got another limited series coming out on Netflix March 20th about Madam C.J. Walker, played by the Academy Award winner Octavia Spencer. Yeah. But not just that, but all these platforms need to fill it. And they're doing it, and that's why you're hearing and seeing different voices, different filmmakers coming up and having a chance to tell our story, their story, from all many different perspectives. So it's a good thing.
It's a great thing. Tiffany Haddish actually came by and Heather has to go to Urban View, right?
Yeah, I do. But go ahead, finish about Tiffany.
Okay.
Finish your thought out.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Wow, that's my sister. That's my rider, Blair. That's my sniper too. Self-made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker, and when she said it, I got excited because that's what we studied and me coming up as a youth, right? But it's great to hear her. I asked her break down to the people who she was because folks didn't know who she was talking about.
I just did the Madam C.J. Walker story.
Okay. Break down who Madam C.J. Walker is.
Madam C.J. Walker was not only an African-American woman, but that we can just put that part to the side. She was the very first female in the United States of America to become a self-made millionaire. Mm-hmm. She created job opportunities for over 20,000 women worldwide and men. She basically single-handedly started the hair care industry. Mm-hmm. Madam C.J. Walker.
That's hilarious.
I love me some Tiffany, man. Oh, I love me some Tiffany. I play her father-in-law in the movie. Yeah, no, she's amazing. We talked about both. The thing about Tiffany is she's so smart. She's funny, but that sister is intense and smart about her business, but just in terms of her intellect. I was really impressed with her working with her.
Yeah, she's learned how to speak Hebrew and
she's
doing some interesting things. But what was it like playing off of her and acting in a scene?
Well, if I could keep a straight face, after that, it was just great because she's hungry. She's hungry and she wants to be great at what she does. She wants to learn and she's doing it. She's killing the game.
Yeah, man. Blair, thank you, man. It's always good to see you,
man,
brother.
always, brother.
Come on, man. We got so much history together. It's crazy. One day we got to sit down and explore it.
Yeah, definitely.
Or just keep it going, man.
Yeah,
and then
you too, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man.